Welcome to the Late Afternoon Show. I'm your host, David Cary, Director of the Lincoln-Lancaster County Planning Department. This show will highlight important topics related to the update of our comprehensive plan and our long-range transportation plan. This update effort is called Plan Forward 2050. We are zooming in experts from our community to learn about many important efforts that are ongoing in Lincoln and Lancaster County, and then using that information to inform our long-range decisions. In today's episode, we will talk with Adele Burt, Policy Aide to the Mayor. Today, we'll talk about equity and the One Lincoln Initiative. Welcome to the show, Adele.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Well, thank you for taking some time out of your busy day to be with us today and to talk about equity. So we have a few questions to get into the topic, so we'll just start going with the questions.
Great.
So what is your role within the city's administration?
So I'm a policy aide to Mayor Gaylor Baird, and in that role, I lead the Mayor's One Lincoln Initiative, which is focused on issues of equity, diversity, and inclusion, both within City Hall and out in the community as a whole.
So let's talk about the meaning of equity within your work at the city.
Sure. So I think it's important to establish an understanding of what equity means. And it's a little bit different than equality. When we think about equality, we think about sameness, making sure everyone has the same thing. But equity is a little bit different because it takes into account the fact that different groups have experienced different barriers historically and in the present. And ensuring equity means that everyone has access to the same opportunity and the same outcomes to be successful. So I'll give an example. Today, there isn't anything in our laws that prevents someone from buying a home, say because of their race. So on its face, we might say that people of every race have equal opportunity to access home ownership. But what we know is that in practice, Black Americans are about 30% less likely to be homeowners than white Americans. So in practice, when we're looking at equity, we start to ask questions like, why did the data show a disparity? And what can we do to address that disparity in the outcome? So that's, a little bit of a difference between equity and equality.
Okay, yeah, I like that example to try to understand that better. So Mayor Lyrian Gaylor Baird has an initiative known as One Lincoln. Can you tell us about this effort and what outcomes the community can expect to see?
Sure. So the goal of the One Lincoln Initiative is to make Lincoln a more equitable and inclusive city, and a city where every resident has the equal opportunity to reach their full human potential. And that it's not just equality of opportunity, but it's also equality in practice and in outcomes. The initiative focuses on equity and inclusion inside of City Hall and in the community. And so it encompasses within City Hall, fostering an environment of inclusion and promotion of, diversity within our workforce. So that applies to our recruitment and our hiring practices, our staff, and how they're trained to understand things like implicit bias, and creating a welcoming environment for all of our city staff. And then in the community, it focuses on ensuring that the services the city provides and the policies that we enact are that we're putting forward are creating the best outcomes for every resident, no matter their race, gender, age, ability, sexual orientation, etc.
Does the city have any stated equity goals or strategies?
Sure. So we do have a number of goals and strategies, but I'll name 3 strategies specifically. And one of those is to ensure diversity in our city boards and commissions, our volunteer boards. And these strategies include recruiting diverse applicants and also deliberately tracking our board demographics to benchmark where we are at meeting those goals. In addition, we're working to provide training for department directors and city staff on topics like inclusion and identity and implicit bias. And I think that training will equip our staff with tools to address equity and inclusion in their work. And then a third example I would give is implementing an equity framework in our decision-making and our policy setting. We are in the process of developing an equity analysis tool, which sounds kind of complicated, but really it's just a resource for our departments to filter their policies and their budgets through an equity lens. And that tool will ask city staff to consider certain questions. Questions like who will benefit and who might be burdened by particular policies. What do the data tell us about existing inequities, and how might we address those inequities? And who will be impacted by the decision that we're making, and has that group or have those individuals been invited to the table in the decision-making process? So the development of that equity tool, I think, will really help us center equity as a goal in all of our work at the city.
Yeah, I know the planning department, we're really excited about using the equity tool with the comprehensive plan in particular. So that's going to be very exciting to do that. And virtual audience members, please be sure to check out our website, www.planforward2050.com, and like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to view more interesting content about the update of the comprehensive plan. That's our show for today. This is David Cary signing off. Remember, stay safe, stay engaged, and take care.